We've all been there before. We are running well. You're running quick, you're running strong, you're running longer than ever before. You feel so great. And suddenly, out of nowhere, you get an injury. And that means usually you go and see the physio. And then you go and see him again and again and again and again. And just before you run out of money, he gives you a couple of exercises and tells you to come see me again in 2 or 3 weeks' time. You kind of stop running for a week or two maybe. You do the exercise that the physio told you to do and you start feeling better. At the same time, all your friends on Facebook are suddenly running all the marathons and ultra marathons that you wanted to do. And you kind of feel a little bit down about yourself, but at the same time you feel a bit better with your injury and you started running again, and at the same time you picked up some better habits. You started doing some foam rolling, you started using the massage gun that's been sitting in the shelf for the last 2 years that you haven't touched. Your diet got a little bit cleaner because you know that you need a cleaner diet to stay away from injuries, because you don't want to be at the point that you are right now ever again. At the same time, you're already starting to, start running a little bit. You do a couple of easy runs, you feel good about this. You're doing all the strength work, you're doing all the recovery work, your diet is still clean, and, slowly week by week, you're running again and you kind of feel good about your running. And even though you lost a little bit of fitness, you're hopeful because now you know the secrets of how not to get injured. It's the recovery work, it's the strength work, it's a clean diet. You know all of that, so you sign up for another race and you get excited. You rejoin your friends, you run, you do some long runs with them, you do some group runs with your friends again, and you're on the track. Like, suddenly your fitness is coming back a few weeks on and you're running well again, and you kind of think to yourself, all right, well, I have this race that I've signed up for coming up. I need to run longer. I need to do some better workouts. And you start kind of thinking, where do I get that extra time? I have my kids, I have my family, I have my work. Where do I get those extra hours? So suddenly you kind of start taking them away from that recovery work, from, the exercises the physio told you to do. Instead of 5 exercises a day, you do 4. And instead of 10 minutes of foam rolling a day, you do 5. And suddenly the warm-up before you run is not 7 minutes long, it's 3 minutes long. But you still feel good, your body's still strong, and you're going longer and longer. Suddenly you have a few big weeks of training and all your friends on Strava are going crazy. Oh my God, you're doing so well, you're doing so well. You get so much love out of your Strava friends. They see your weekly mileage, and that kind of just puts more wood into the fire. And you want to run more because the race is coming up. And suddenly again, you're running strong, you're running fast, you're feeling better than ever again. And guess what? You get injured again, because by that point, you've spent all your time running and you forgot about all the strength work, about all the stretching, about the diet. Like, who's got time to create a salad, to make a salad anymore? You just grab a quick burger because you gotta get your 100 miles for the week, your 80 miles for the week. And then you go and see your good old friend, Mr. Physio again, and he's waiting for you. He knows that he's going to be making a little bit more money out of you for the next few weeks. And with the video today, I'm hoping that I can share some of the tips that have helped me for the last 9 years to stay injury-free. And it's more about building habits that can kind of fit into your everyday life, and they will hopefully help you to stay injury-free and get away from that injury circle that a lot of runners are in. You're running well, suddenly you get injured, you do all the right things for a little bit, and then you're running well again, but you forget about all those little things that got you to this point, and then you get injured again. And suddenly that circle just keeps on going and your running goes nowhere. It does this, it goes up and down, and you're not really improving. You're kind of running well for a bit, get injured, don't run for 2 or 3 weeks, running well again. So hopefully this video can get you to the point that you can take some habits with you that will make you a better runner and injury-free. So obviously there's many reasons why you might get an injury, but we're going to keep it basic today. Otherwise this will probably be the longest video on YouTube ever. And we're going to keep it basic to the fact that you're not strong enough or you don't do enough recovery work. So if you're not strong enough and you go out running and your body has to compensate, it might land differently for a little bit, then you start getting some tightness. That tightness will lead to an injury, or you don't do enough recovery work, enough mobility work, stretching, all kind of like massage stuff, your diet, everything around kind of the other side of running, which could be summarized into recovery work for the sake of this video. And you don't do enough of that, so then you go and you run on a consistent basis, but you're not feeling as fresh, your running form drops a little bit, your legs are heavy, you got tight muscles, but you still kind of run through that pain, and before you know it, something breaks and you do get injured. We all know we should be doing more strength work and recovery work, but here is a couple of ways that you can make them into a habit. Number one, start small. Look to improve by a little 1% a day. You don't have to be the most flexible person in the world overnight. That's not going to happen. What you are looking to be is 1% more flexible than what you were yesterday. And then the next day again, 1% more flexible than what you were the day before. So obviously don't try and compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to where you are at your level, and just try and get better a tiny bit, because that tiny bit every day really adds up. So if at this point today you're like, you're about to touch your toes and you can only reach your knees, well, that's where you're starting, and all you're looking to do is slowly improve with every day. It's not going to happen overnight, so you need to kind of remind yourself, I'm not going to touch my toes tomorrow. It might take a few weeks. For some people, it might take few months, but at least if you're kind of doing it on a regular basis, you will get to that point where you are going to touch your toes. So like, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Go slow, but make sure that you move forward and you don't move backwards. Try and improve just a tiny bit with every single day. Number two is that environment where you do your strength work and your recovery work. So you want to make it as easy as you can on yourself. If you have to do it in the gym, that means you have to get ready, drive to the gym, go in. That starts becoming a little bit harder. You want to make it as easy as you can on yourself. So you want to do it at home. And what I personally do is I would have my yoga mat opened up the whole time, so I know that it's right there. And then I have whatever I need for my strength work right there. So it's really easy for me to do my strength work because it's right there. I don't need to kind of think, oh, now I need to put aside an hour to drive to the gym, go in, start my warm-up and everything. Like, that's already taking up 15 minutes of my time, another 15 minutes on the way back. You want to make it as simple as you can, so your environment is ready for you to do those things. And same things with recovery. Same thing with recovery. I try and keep it as easy as I can for myself. So I'll have my foam roller right there in my living room, like right underneath my coffee table. My wife doesn't really like it, but I know that makes it easier for me to use it every day. I don't need to kind of hide it somewhere and then have to go through that to find it, to actually use it, because that just makes it harder for me to use it. So if that foam roller or massage gun is in a drawer in your basement somewhere, you're probably not going to be using it every day, and you want to be using those things on a daily basis. So make it as easy as you can for yourself. Like, I have my massage ball for my foot. I have that where my toothbrush is. So right there where my toothbrush is, I have my massage ball. So every time I'm brushing my teeth, I know that I'm going to be also using that massage ball at the same time. So I make it as easy as I can for myself, that environment that I know that I'm going to do the strength work today and I'm going to do that recovery work today. Don't kind of hide things away that will make it harder for yourself. Make it as easy as you can with that environment around you to make sure that you are doing the right things for you to stay injury-free. Number three is bundle the stuff that you like to do with the things you need to do. All right, so for example, you need to foam roll every day. Let's say 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Bundle that with something that you like to do. So you might be watching your favorite TV show. So whenever you foam roll, you would watch your favorite TV show. So in that way, you kind of combine the two. So you have the stuff that you need to do with what you want to do. Or, while you're doing your strength work, listen to your favorite song or your favorite music or a podcast that you really wanted to do. So see if you can combine the two. In that way, you can start doing the things that you need to do a lot more often, because now they are combined with the stuff that you actually enjoy doing. Myself personally, I foam roll and massage every single day while I watch a documentary. So I really like watching documentaries. And I might watch half an hour every single night while I foam roll or massage or stretch or do my mobility work. So I know that they're combined together. So I don't have to do my mobility work and stretching just staring at a white wall. That doesn't make it as fun. As like everybody out there, it's not that I like foam rolling or I find foam rolling very entertaining or very enjoyable, but I know that it's an important part of not getting injured. So what I try and do is do it on a daily basis, and then combine that with something that I like doing. So for me, that's watching documentaries. So I combine those two, and I know that I do them pretty much every single night, and they makes it a lot easier. So think about the stuff that you need to do to stay injury free, and try and combine them with stuff that you want to do. And that will just make it a lot easier to do it on a consistent basis. Number 4 is schedule those things in. So for example, a lot of us just start running without a warm-up and a cool down, and a lot of us could use a few running drills before we start running, or a couple of basic stretches after we finish running. So instead of scheduling a 10K run today, you can schedule 10 minutes of basic running drills, 8K run, and 5 minutes of basic stretching. That's how I kind of schedule my workouts. I put myself time to do the little things around running, so I make sure that I'm not too tight with knowing, all right, I only have 1 hour to do my 10K run. I'm probably not going to fit it. So you kind of miss out on the warm up and cool down. I schedule the running a bit less, and then I have enough time to do the things around running. And the other thing that you want to be doing is scheduling things like, your workouts. Like, make sure that you tell yourself, I'm going to be doing strength work every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. because I know that 8 p.m. usually the kids are asleep. I've had my dinner, that kind of works for me. And then I've got no excuse of not finding the right time. So kind of sit down and kind of think to yourself, when can I fit those workouts? When can I fit my strength workouts? And then just set them and make sure that you kind of do them, because you know that you set a time, a place to do them. And an easy way to keep track of it is have a calendar on the wall next to you, an empty monthly calendar, and you set your goal to do strength work for 20 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And just every day that you do it, just cross it over. Just do one cross on a Monday. All right, I did it again. Do another cross on a Wednesday. I did it on Friday. Do another cross, and try and get those crosses in. Just try and get them in a row, and then another month and another month, and make it very visual. Like, have that calendar, empty monthly calendar right there next to your yoga mat with the stuff that you need for your strength work. Have it right there, very easy, very accessible. So every time you walk past it, you walk past that calendar, you see there's been a couple of X's there already on a Monday, on a Wednesday, on a Friday. You know that today is Tuesday, tomorrow I gotta put another X on that calendar. And before you know it, that becomes a routine, a regular thing that you do on a regular basis, and it becomes a lot easier to do it. And then you start seeing the benefits of it. Suddenly, I haven't been injured for the last 2 or 3 months. Well, there is your answer. You're not getting injured because you've been consistent with your strength work, and you can kind of show it. So you create that vision between what is actually happening with your training and actually seeing it right there on the calendar in front of you, which keeps you motivated to even keep this longer and longer and longer. And that's how literally I stayed motivated to do 15 minutes of strength work every single day for the last 7 or 8 years pretty much. Number 5 is keep your running and your strength and recovery work in line. What I mean by this is, if you have a big training week and you know you're going to be running 10 hours this week, maybe your usual 1 hour of strength work a week is not enough for that. So what I mean is that you want to be keeping them in line. The more you run, the more recovery work you do, the more strength work you do. So you want to kind of think, all right, well, I have a big race coming up. I know I need to do 10 hours a week for the next 6 weeks. You want to make sure that you find the time to also have 2 hours a week of strength work and recovery work in line with that increase in running. And same thing the other way around. If you're running a little bit less, you can do a little bit less strength work. I mean, hopefully you can do more, but the way I kind of think about it is the more I run, the more strength work I need to do. And even though it's not easy because you are tired, you kind of just want to relax and chill on the couch. But that's the times, those little decisions there is when you don't get injured and then you end up doing well in the race. Is you made up your mind, all right, I'm going to train an X amount of hours for my next race. I need to make sure that my strength work and recovery actually work together with those hours and move up and down with it. So like, don't think, all right, I'm going to keep doing my 2 strength workouts a week plus a yoga session on a Sunday. And that has worked well for you while you're running 60K a week, but maybe that's not going to work well when you suddenly need to run 110K a week leading up to your first ultra marathon or leading up to a marathon. So make sure they go in line. So a key kind of thing that I think about it is at least 20% of your training time should be doing strength and recovery work. So if you're running 10 hours a week, it should be that you are putting 2 hours of strength and recovery a week at least. The more you're going to do, the more you're going to benefit out of it, but just make sure they kind of stay in line and don't let your running go to 10 hours while your strength and recovery work goes to 30 minutes a week, because you know where you're going to end up. You're going to end up in Mr. Physio's office. And number 6 is change your goals. So that's something that I've done for a really long time. And without even like thinking about it too much, but now looking back at it, I realized that I've never had a goal to do well in one race. My goal was always, if I have a look at some of the goals that I used to write on a daily basis, would be stay injury free or keep my sponsorship for another year. Like, you know, those kind of goals that I created myself, they weren't too specific for one race. So what happens is that a lot of people would be very disciplined leading up to their marathon. And then once they run the marathon, you know, suddenly you're not that disciplined anymore about strength work and stability work and stretching and all that. And you just kind of keep on running. So you kind of go into an injury straight after a race or a few weeks after a race. So kind of change your goals instead of focusing on, I want to do well in the New York Marathon. Set your goal to like, I want to run injury free for the next 12 months. And then that's going to kind of change your mentality of thinking about strength work and recovery work and about making it consistent and not just on special occasions. So you shouldn't be foam rolling like, you know, on regular basis only because you're getting closer to a race. You should be foam rolling on regular basis because you want to stay away from injuries for a whole year, or you want to, you know, run 20 races in the next 3 years. Like that kind of goals would make you a lot more consistent with what you're doing instead of focusing on strength work or your recovery work on one specific race or a period of time. So you want to open that period a lot longer, and that can be, I never want to get injured again. That could be a goal. That's a goal that I had, you know, I don't get injured. Like that was my goal, and I knew by having that goal, I will stick with foam rolling every day, doing strength work every day. And for you, that might be different because, you know, maybe your goal were not winning races or doing well in races or keeping your sponsorship. But for you, that could be, I'm going to foam roll for every second day for 10 minutes. Or I'm going to do strength work every second day for 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be much. It just has to be consistent. So change your goals to not being too specific on being nice to your body for a specific amount of time, but be nice to your body for a longer amount of time. Hopefully you got some value out of those things, and I wish that you're gonna implement some of them, because I promise you, if you do and stay consistent with them, you will stay away from injuries. If you do wanna try my tactic of foam rolling while watching documentaries, here is a documentary that I made with my friend Matt Smith about the Perth Half Marathon, so you can check that out. Otherwise, I wish you a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.